Welcome back to Tamara Knows History, where we're exploring the macabre, the weird, and the mysterious. Today's subject is the Edinburgh Castle and its infamous vaults, places of imprisonment, of torture, and hauntings that still echo through Scotland's capital. And yes, I do have a skull. I decided to own a little prop, which is kind of Shakespearean, so we're going with that. So the Edinburgh Castle, which is perched on a volcanic rock, has stood for over 1,000 years. It's been a royal residence, a fortress, and a symbol of Scottish sovereignty. But behind its grandeur lies kind of like a darker story. The castle was also a prison, holding enemies of the crown, foreign captives, and accused traitors. And during the Wars of Independence and later conflicts, its dungeons became places of suffering where torture and execution were just kind of like a part of daily reality. So we can speak more about the vaults. Beneath Edinburgh's South Bridge lies another layer of kind of macabre and darkness, and those are the vaults. They were built in the 18th century, and these underground chambers were originally meant to be just storage and workshops, but instead they kind of became overcrowded with slums, brothels, and hideouts for the criminals. The vaults were damp and airless and suffocating, so people there lived and died in misery. And you have stories of torture, body snatching, even ghostly apparitions, basically. Inside both the castle and the vaults, prisoners endured brutal conditions. Captives were chained in darkness, they were starved, and sometimes even subjected to medieval torture devices. The vaults became notorious for their cruelty. People kind of crammed in tiny chambers with no light or sanitation, and just slowly wasting away. The suffering kind of is left behind, because you can still feel that atmosphere today when you're visiting the vaults. And visitors describe it as chilling and oppressive. Edinburgh is often called one of the most haunted cities in the world and one of my favorite cities. And the castle and the vaults are at its heart, basically. So visitors reported hearing footsteps in like empty corridors, feeling like a sudden drop in temperature, and even seeing shadowy figures. Ghost tours recount tales of like tortured spirits, restless prisoners, and the victims of witch trials whose kind of like cries you could hear in the dark. The vaults in particular are famous for poltergeist activity, if you believe or not. So we have objects moving, whispers in the dark, and the sense of being watched. Today, the Edinburgh Castle is a national landmark, and the vaults are tourist attractions. But beneath all that history and the tours lies kind of like a chilling story that these places were built actually on human suffering. They kind of remind us that we can see the grandeur of those like stones and walls, but there are stories of fear and pain and death, basically.